I want to get into theories. All right, you guys, so I had to break out the notebook because I want to take down some notes here. I didn't want to do that while I was watching. I think that there is a definite story going on, but I also think that there's a message. So I think there's two different things going on. Each person, I think they represent a certain, whether it's some kind of mental illness, like I was saying, addiction, like I was saying, or like V's got the whole problem going on with his father. He's an alcoholic, he's abusive, and all that stuff. They're all in certain situations, which applies to the story, which I think they're all friends that come from different home lives. They all have different issues, but they connect together. So they have a strong bond. I'm not even writing anything. So they have a strong bond, which keeps them together. One of them came undone first. And then when that happened, the rest of them fell apart. And I think the last person is Jin. I think he doesn't know what to do, which leads to blood, sweat, and tears. I don't think that the guys actually represent themselves in that music video, except for Jin, when it comes to the characters in this story. Does that make sense? In these series? So I think what Jin was dealing with, and I went into more into detail with Blood, Sweat, and Tears on my top 15, which you guys can go check out, is dealing with, does he take the evil side or the good side, which I believe he succumbs to the evil side, unfortunately. Suga, we don't know his like backstory really, but we know that he's a pyro for sure. He's a pyro. And he's a hothead, meaning like when he got into that fight with Jungkook, he got a little bit drunk or something. He drank a little bit. And so maybe he has some anger issues, or maybe he's just a loose cannon. Yes, I'm writing down notes for real, which I'm sure many of you have. So J-Hope, obviously he ends up in some kind of institution. He has a mental illness. I'll just write that down. Jimin also ends up in a institution, and he has suicidal tendencies. He's going through depression and suicidal tendencies. Suicidal thoughts. Rapmon, I believe, is the older brother to them all, I think. That throws me off, though. Okay, so Rap Monster is not the oldest, but I feel like he represents the oldest in this series, though. Like, like, he's the leader of the group, right? So maybe that's why, but I just feel like he's the older brother kind of. He just gives off this vibe of an older brother thing. He also, I believe, has an addiction to smoking and, like, coffee, so I think that he represents addictions, and addictions that maybe people don't recognize as an addiction. So like sugar, food, people can become addicted to those things like no problem. Caffeine. I remember I was saying in the Wings series, because J-Hope takes Snickers out of his pocket and a bunch of pills fall out, right? I was saying they could be touching on the addiction of pills, yes, but also candy, food, you know what I mean? Addiction can come in many, many different forms, and it can be different things. So I think Rap Monster has a little thing going on there with that. I just feel like Rap Monster represents the older brother, even though he's not. I don't know, I just get that feeling for some reason. Like when V made the call in the beginning of Prologue, I don't know why, I just got a feeling that it was Rap Monster. It could be totally wrong. That's what the feeling that I got. So V, there's nothing wrong with V. That's the thing, right? So like V does some bad things. Like, yeah, he does graffiti. He's all about the graffiti, which leads to his arrest, but there's nothing wrong with him. It's the life that he was dealt. He had to see his mother being abused, and his father was an alcoholic, right? So that was something he had to deal with. He probably had depression and suicidal thoughts because of that or whatever. So that's what he was dealing with, is a family issues, I'll say. And that part where he like kills his father is crazy, man. That really freaked me out. I feel like Jungkook has depression. I think in this, I think he's the most sensitive of the group, and the most, I don't know if I want to say the most caring. He really cares about all the guys, and he doesn't want anything to happen. And I think he's really scared. And I think the reason why he's always crying and looking at all these things is because he's seeing that the friendship is falling apart. I think that's what's going on there. I think Jin's like in the middle. So I think he needed somebody. We don't really know what's going on with him. I think he's got some kind of maybe anxiety, and maybe also like a what is that called when you don't like your appearance? I'm having trouble thinking, you guys, it's late, but he has appearance issues, right? So he's got like a thing with himself. The reason why I say that is because anytime that the guys like kind of focus attention onto him, he gets really like shy and almost like don't look at me kind of a thing in these videos. I don't know if anyone's noticed that, but like I think Rapmon goes to take a picture of him, but his expression totally changes. Like he's like, you can tell he does not want his picture taken. So I think he has some kind of appearance issue things going on. So again, another social issue that's being touched on. And yes, I think there is a story going on, but I think there's also social issues that are being talked about and trying to be expressed in this art. So the one I'm lost on is Rapmon. So that's like the characteristics, right? That's like the things that they're all dealing with. But there's so much imagery going on, and there's so much symbolism going on in this as well. You know, you got the bird flying away from the nest kind of thing. All these guys need to get out of their environment. V needs to get away from his home. He can't be in that environment. That's a terrible environment for the child to have to go through. It's just a really sad thing, and it happens a lot, man. So it's a really important message to get across. So I'm really happy that they did something about that. I think it's really cool. All of them need to get away from their addictions. They need to get away from their homes. And that's why I said with Prologue, it's like you feel like you wish that the guys would have just ran away together. But then in the next thing with Run, it's almost as if it's like maybe that still wouldn't be a good thing, because with all their different problems, they might explode. You put all these different problems into a household, a situation together. It could go one way where they all help each other and they grow old and it's beautiful, or it all just explodes and all these different things happens, which I think that is what ended up happening. And I think the last one left is Jin. I think that's what the story is about. I think everybody else either committed suicide or was institutionalized, or the car thing I don't really get though, where Rapmon's laying down with who was it? Was it V? No, I can't remember. But there's definitely something with a car accident too. So like Suga, I don't think he commits suicide. I think his anger and his pyro thing, I think that ends his life. I think that's what happens. Now, I don't know if they're continuing this series with their next album or albums or whatever. I hope that they do, because I feel like there's going to be more that they can do with it. And I do believe that they just came out with a trailer or something like that for the next album, because I know they're going to be coming out with stuff in September, I believe. Looking forward to checking that out. In fact, I might check it out after this. You know, you guys, I could go crazy. I could write a bunch of stuff about all this. I could go through all the symbolism that's going on. I could go through all the messages. I could go through the story. But I think the most important thing to take away is all the messages in this. The story is brilliant, but the messages are really important. And I think it's really beautiful that they did that. And they are, like I said earlier, they are totally artists, and they know what they're doing, man. Great group. I love them so much. I really do. I totally get why the ARMY has such a strong passion for these guys, because I've seen how they feel about their fans. They're super passionate about the ARMY, just as the ARMY is as passionate about them as they are about the ARMY, if that makes sense, which is just awesome. Brilliant, man. They're artists, and they have a lot to say and a lot of important things to say. And on top of that, they're talented musicians with good voices. You know what I mean? And talented lyricists as well. Anyways, you guys, I'm rambling on. I just wanted to do this, and I'm very happy that I did. Again, thank you, Dory, for suggesting this, for sending in a video request so I would do this, and I'm so happy that I did. I can't wait to check out more from these guys, and there's still a lot more that I gotta check out. I've got a list, very, very long list, and a lot of BTS stuff that I gotta do still, and I will be doing it. I love you guys. ARMY dreamers, ARMY, I love you all. You're beautiful, and I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, annyeong.